Hello, welcome to Tomorrow Again. Please thumbs up this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed, and make sure you turn on your post notifications. That way, every time I upload a video, you'll be notified. I wanted to talk to you guys today about a dream I had. I couldn't wait to make this video and share this information with you. Now, first of all, I'm not advocating any specific thing. It's simply what I dreamed about. I don't even think that far into the future. Anyway, here's my dream. It's story time. Or dream, it's dream time. I had a guide. First of all, I went to sleep and I was just in the most pleasant sleep, the most relaxed sleep that I've ever had in a long time. And soon I woke up and I was in the middle of a dream. Something else had happened, but that part of the dream I just don't remember. You know how sometimes you'll remember bits and pieces of a dream? Well, the first part of it, I don't have a clue what took place in my dream. But I remember I had a guide, and I didn't know if the guide was male, female. I didn't know what the guide looked like, other than they felt lightweight. And they were taking me around and showing me different things. And then I could see a calendar that let me know that it was the year 2075. And I kind of got excited, like, wow, I'm in the year 2075. And I knew something was different because the air felt different. It felt cleaner, clearer. It felt like it was manufactured, almost like receiving constant oxygen. It felt crisp, healthy. And then my guide told me, non-verbally, that this is the way the air is in the future. It promotes better health. It promotes a longer life. And this air, this manufactured air had been around. At that time, it had been around since 2065. It had been 10 years. And my guide told me that at first nobody thought it was a good idea, but then everyone sort of got used to it. So the air was different. The grass was different. I took my foot and I kind of felt the grass with my foot. I didn't have any shoes on, and I was trying to figure out, is this real grass? Because it looked so perfect. And I never did really find out if that grass was real. Maybe I'll go back to sleep and figure that out, but I never could figure that out. Next, I was shown, I'm sorry, I'm so excited to tell you the things that I saw. Next, I was shown the ocean. I've seen the Gulf of Mexico, but I've never really seen the ocean before. But I could smell it. I could feel it. And it didn't seem to take us long to get from point A to point B. I'm not sure how that was, but we were just sort of where we needed to be. And I'll refer to my guide as a she, because it felt more like feminine energy. But she took me to places that I needed to see, and we were just there. We were just instantly where we needed to be. The ocean had a beautiful light pale blue color, and as the waves moved, the color got more paler. And I got my notes here. There was a new form of transportation via ocean where you could go from the United States to Africa, to Europe, Australia, Asia. It didn't matter. You could go from the United States to South America in like 2 hours via this ocean vehicle. And it was deemed the safest mode of travel. You could even go to, I don't know, you could go to, say, London in maybe a half an hour. It was just very, very quick. And it didn't eliminate airplanes, though. There were airplanes, I could hear them, and they had a zzz sound to them. There were airplanes, there were helicopters still. I don't know about vehicles like cars. I didn't see any cars at all. It's like I only saw what I wondered about. I only saw what my guide was showing me. Also, I saw these mail tubes. They were everywhere. Every home, every apartment, every hospital. The same way Wi Fi is everywhere and cable. It kind of worked from some kind of energy. I'm not exactly sure. But inside of your house, there was a locked compartment, or sometimes it was outside. Wherever you see your mailbox, that's where these compartments were. And she called them tubies. I think that's what she called it. And you put, if you wanted to send someone in California a piece of cake and you lived in New York, it would take maybe, I don't know, half an hour to put it in the tube and it would just shoot to wherever you wanted it to go. There were tubes everywhere. They went it looked to me like they would go from your wall, a wall, through this tube. And it took 20 years for this to all become a reality. Um, it's just kind of hard to explain. She was showing me this and I was fascinated. Like you could send someone an object in maybe 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour. And it took about 20 years to build the tubes everywhere, to install the tubes in every home. Every modern facility had tubes. You could just put paper, rolled up paper, stick it in the tube, and then you would program where you wanted it to go, and then it would go there. It was absolutely fascinating to me. And I remember in the dream, I knew I was dreaming, and I was hoping that I could tell someone, like, look at this. This is exciting. And once again, this was the year 2075. Another thing I saw was that they had directional, I'm looking at my notes, they had directional sidewalks. Like they were mostly in government state facilities. You had to walk in a specific direction. If you were on one side of the sidewalk, say the north side the north sidewalk would go, north, and if you were on the south sidewalk, you would have to walk south. Like you were walking in opposite directions, almost similar to when you're driving or a one-way street. Some sidewalks you could only walk one way. It was all in the name of safety, keeping people sort of distant from one another to prevent spread of too many germs and things like that. So that was the norm. Nobody thought it was strange. Also, I noticed there were lots of elderly people, but they didn't look the way, like an 80-year-old didn't look the way an 80-year-old looks now. They looked like a younger 80-year-old. But an 80-year-old didn't look like a 20-year-old or a 60-year-old. They just looked better. Just, the skin wasn't sagging. There was nobody in any distress as far as anything like osteoporosis. There, as a matter of fact, I saw a sign that looked wooden, and I could tell it wasn't always there. It was for me to read. There were literally no more health issues. There was a cure for every single thing. It was deemed, I'm sorry, not deemed, it was figured out even years before 2075, the cure for every single disease. And these days that we're living in 2020 was almost looked at as the dark ages. Like there were no diseases, there was no, and did people die? I think they did. but it wasn't from a disease. There was no cancer, no diabetes, no heart disease, no neuromuscular diseases, none of that. There was just healthy people. Also, people's names were different. There were still a few people with old fashioned names, like the names that we're accustomed to now in 2020. But in 2075, names were phrases like honeymoon pie, sweet kind person would be a name. And person was a popular name. Also, it could be blue moon units were phrases. And there was, I believe, a 4 word maximum for names. Also, when babies were born, they were gender neutral. They were thought of as gender neutral. There was no putting on a birth certificate male or female. Race was another issue that was not put on a birth certificate. There was more letting the child choose who they are. And I thought that was interesting. So if you were saying you just had a baby boy, that was looked at as just as bad as racism is looked at now. It was looked at just as bad as sexism, ageism, classism. All those isms were looked at as super bad. Like that was a thing of the past. So also, religious worship was done in your home. If you had a specific religious belief or way of life, you were limited to your home, just your family. There wasn't group gatherings. That was a thing of the past in my dream. It was just a select few would worship together. If there was a party, there was ways around that. It seemed to me like there was no big gatherings. There may have been, but I didn't see any one gathering. So I thought that was very interesting. Also, I was taken to a zoo, and the guide was showing me if you want to go anywhere, whether it's the zoo, the beach, no matter where you go, even the grocery store, you had to have a coin. And every facility, every place, a park, everywhere, there were coin slots with a wooden thing inside the coin slot, inside the wooden slot. You took that thing out, and each person had a coin. If you didn't have a coin, you couldn't go anywhere. Like everywhere you went was accounted for, or could be accounted for. I hope that makes sense. It did in the dream. There was there was a record kept of every single thing that you did, and it was very accessible by, even the police department had access to your coin knowledge. So you would have a coin on your person. You didn't have to have it. If you didn't have it, you wasn't going to get in anywhere. You couldn't even go grocery shopping. You couldn't go to the doctor's office without a coin, without this wooden coin or chip that would fit inside this slot. That was amazing to me to see that. Okay, let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all that I was shown. It was the strangest dream I've ever had in my entire life, but I wanted to share that with you guys. Who knows what 2075 will bring? Who knows what tomorrow will bring? But I think with life, there's always transitions. You can almost see things coming. It doesn't just happen overnight. So I'm assuming 2075 is no exception. If these things do come to pass, we will see things leading up to that. And that's how we'll get our answer. But a dream sometimes is simply a dream. It's our subconscious mind sort of figuring things out and working things out. Or it could be some sort of prolific dream. Some of us watching this video, it might literally, YouTube might be around in 2075. And people in 2075, hi, they may be seeing this video saying, oh, ooh, look at the video quality. Oh, no. Look at this. Look at that. Look at how it was back then. Or she was right. Her prophecy was right. Or it could be the opposite. 2075 isn't like that. So take it with a grain of salt. It's for your entertainment, it's something to think about. I hope you guys are hanging in there and keeping yourselves feeling positive and understanding that you have control of how you feel. Never give that control to anyone else. You got this. No matter what you're going through, you got this. You can do it. You've done it before. You've gotten through things before. You can do this. You are strong. You have more power in your little pinky than you ever can imagine. No matter what's in front of you, you got this. This is Tomorrow. Again, I'm wishing you guys the best of the